Now, you may look around and see two groups here. White collar, blue collar. But I don't see it that way. And you know why not? Because I am colorblind.
Often the color and race are correlated, and it's just funny that all bosses pretend they're not racist when they are.
Hi everyone, welcome to Union Organizers React, a series brought to you by organizers with the Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee, the Democratic Socialists of America, and the United Electrical, Radio, and Machine Workers of America. My name is Laura and I'm a DSA member. I get to be here with you all and some super smart union organizers and rewatch some of our favorite TV episodes and see what interesting things these characters get up to at work. This time we're watching The Office. In this episode, warehouse workers are fed up and start talking about forming a union. Here with me to watch is Mindy Isser. Mindy is a member of the Communication Workers of America and a DSA organizer. You ready to get started, Mindy?
Hell yeah.
Happy to be here. It's very nice to see all of you. You're all looking well.
Today's a women in the workplace thing. Jan's coming in from corporate to talk to all the women about, I don't really know what, but Michael's not allowed in. She said that about 5 times.
Women today, though we have the same options as men, we often face a very different set of obstacles in getting there. So,
Hey, what's going
Okay,
on?
I just want to pause it. I know it's early, but all of those things are so true. And I know this episode is about, like, the bulk of it is about warehouse workers organizing, but it's also kind of striking because the way to, like, end the gender wage gap and, like, fight sexual harassment in the workplace and all the things that affect and hurt women more than they do men is to unionize. So feels like both the office workers and the warehouse workers could be unionizing together in this episode.
Why can't boys play with dolls? Why does society force us to use urinals when sitting down is far more comfortable?
can you please do this somewhere else, Michael?
We have nowhere else, Jan.
We could do it in the warehouse.
Dwight, excellent idea. Go to the warehouse.
Okay, fine. Actually, perfect. You know what? There's another side to this place, gentlemen. And I know we all love our cushy jobs and our fun, exciting office, but do you realize that underneath us, there's another world? The warehouse world. A world that is teeming with sweat and dirt and life. Oh, I think this is going to work out great. Because managing the warehouse is a very important part of my job, and I haven't been there in months.
But also, that's so true. It's like the boss's job is to literally be the boss. Like, that's their entire job, is to manage the employees, and then they don't even do the thing that is their job.
Remember on Lost when they met the others?
I'm so sorry about that. So where were we? Pam, are you okay taking notes then?
Mm-hmm.
Please? Thank you very much.
So let's meet the warehouse. Let's get some shots.
Okay, just one thing about the Pam thing. The fact that they're making her take notes, even though it's supposed to be like a day away from work to talk about being a woman in the workplace, is like so fucked up, because it's like, oh, Pam is just the like secretary, so of course she's going to be taking notes in this situation too. And obviously she has like no recourse. What's she going to do? Say no to Jan? Jan is scary. And also, even if Jan herself wasn't scary, she would still be her boss, which is a scary thing to be, even if you're the nicest person in the world.
Pan around there. This is Daryl, one of our warehouse staff. Daryl, what is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is that someone will distract us from getting all the shipments out of
You know
time.
what? Daryl is actually the foreman here and not Roy, which is cool. There's Roy riding the big rig. So Roy, just in case there's somebody down here who shouldn't be. Little Goodwill Hunting situation. All right, troops. This is an important day, big day. Now, you may look around and see two groups here. White collar, blue collar. But I don't see it that way. And you know why not? Because I am colorblind.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I forget how funny this show is. The blue collar, white collar divide is seen in a lot of workplaces, especially in union drives. The boss uses that as a way to like wreak havoc in union campaigns. One funny thing about The Office is like they don't really do work. Like they don't, a lot of the time they're not working, and like a lot of their work is like really like silly and like pointless, which I think is true for a lot of like jobs that many people have. And our time would be better spent like doing something socially useful if we had a jobs program. But the warehouse workers, like maybe what they're doing is pointless because it's just like moving paper around, but they're actually like using heavy equipment to do it. They're using their bodies, and like it is dangerous work, and you could really hurt yourself or hurt a coworker or even kill someone. And so I think like the difference in respect level is huge and so crazy because it just doesn't make sense when you actually look at like the work people are doing. But also the colorblind thing is really funny because bosses will also like obviously try to divide workers on the basis of race, and often the color and race are correlated. And it's just funny that all bosses pretend they're not racist when they are, and will use their racism in a union drive against the union and the workers.
Why don't we go around the table and all say something that we know we're good at? I will start. I am good at public speaking.
Hi, I'm Meredith, and I'm good at supplier relations.
Great. Phyllis?
I'm good at computer stuff, emails, spreadsheets, all that.
Really?
I don't know. I thought that
No.
I was maybe
Okay,
asked.
stop.
I've seen some of
Go
your
on.
spreadsheets. I almost always.
Really? I thought they were pretty.
I don't know how I fit in with these women here or with Jan. I mean, we get along great. Fine. I guess the person I have the most in common with is
Jim Halpert.
I really relate to Pam. Obviously, she's hinting at being in love with Jim, which is beautiful and we all love it. But I feel like, you know, we are all familiar with like girl boss feminism, and like there's this desire to like try to unite all women on the basis of some kind of shared something that can exist to a point. Like, you know, most women can or have dealt with like sexual harassment and things like that, but there's nothing that really unites, you know, women who are employers and women who are workers, and trying to sort of flatten those distinctions can get really tired.
How about we go upstairs too? You know, learn how office works.
Oh,
we can
well,
all switch places.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I don't. My job sucks compared to this. I don't think you'd
The
like it up there.
experience.
Guys, you want to start unloading the truck? Okay, let's go. Step up.
I'd like to be 5 years sober.
That is an excellent goal.
4.5.
I'll tell you one thing. I am not going to be one of those women schlepping your kids around in a minivan.
Great. Uh-huh.
I want an SUV with 3 rows of seats.
That would be great.
Well, I'll be honest, one of the goals of these women's seminars is to feel out if there's any standouts, women who could be a valuable addition to our corporate life.
See, that's so fucked up. Like, it reminds me of those weird personality tests that you have to take online when you apply for a job, like especially at a lot of retail jobs. That's like basically like, how likely are you to steal? Or like, how likely are you to like rat out your coworker if they steal? And then it's like, I mean, I think what she's getting at is like, how likely are you to like want to get pregnant in the next 12 to 24 months? And then like, we'll have to like maybe allow you to take maternity leave, and you're gonna like fuck up our bottom line. Like, that's so messed up. It's like, you can't even have like an event where you talk about sexism in the workplace. It's really all just like a ploy to get to like find out things about you to see if you're like a good fit for the company.
No.
Hey, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Mike,
Stay clear.
Mike, get off of the lift, please.
I'm fine.
Come on
I'm
now.
fine. I'm fine.
Mike,
Here we go.
would you look? Get off
Oh. We'll get somebody to clean that up.
We're the ones that gotta clean that up. Damn it, Michael!
We have to have this thing in service.
But like, what's the most infuriating, even though like obviously we all love Michael, is that he just like doesn't care that the warehouse workers are going to have to clean all of that up, which I'm sure would take hours. And like, it's not like they get paid more for spending their day doing that instead of doing their normal duty. Like, that's really messed up.
Here we are. Now, we definitely live in different worlds, but we have a lot in common. We even like the same girls, some of us. And that's gonna happen. You know, we're guys, so.
Hey, do you want me to go?
No, why would I? You could
I'll go.
stay or. Let's start with the warehouse. What bothers you as guys? You know?
My priority is safety.
Okay.
So it really bothers me when somebody comes in here speeding around on a lift, playing with it like a toy. It kind of gets under my skin.
Okay, yeah.
And it's so disrespectful to his work, to all of the warehouse workers' jobs. It's like Michael thinks he can just do that. And actually, you really need a special license to operate machinery like that. And if safety is his number one concern, and unions are like the stopgap between like living at work and dying at work. And like so many have like health and safety clauses and health and safety committees that help workers like lead on safety issues, because the workers who are doing the work know way better than people like Michael, obviously, how to stay safe in the workplace.
So
don't shush me.
That was just.
That bothers me too.
I was breathing.
Pam shushes me.
Again, so disrespectful with the shushing. Bosses.
Shushes me, drives me crazy.
I hate shushing. You know, that's the thing. What is our beef as human men?
You know, that's a good question, Hasselhoff. What bugs us?
All right. Good. Guys ragging on each other. That's what guys do, and we love it.
I hate it when girls insist on taking them out to new restaurants every weekend night, and then they're like, when are we gonna go on a date?
I hate that too, man. I hate that too.
Sucks it totally sucks.
Yeah, and then they make you drive them to church the next morning. Like, gas ain't free.
Yeah, my salaries, man. What do they expect? You know, they take us out every weekend. You know what I mean?
Man.
We're not millionaires.
I feel you.
No, you don't. You don't feel us. How can you? You know what?
Not literally.
You say we're the same, but we get compensated very differently.
Yes.
We work the same hours as you, and you just said we work a lot harder.
You do. So.
But we get paid a lot less.
Word.
I love Daryl. He's my favorite character in the whole show, and you can already tell he's a leader. When he talks, people are like, they're listening, they're agreeing, and like he's obviously very brave to be able to say this to Michael, even though I know Michael isn't like the same as like a normal boss, but still. And he's also not like a fly off the handle kind of guy. Like he wouldn't just say anything. It seems like he thinks like he's thoughtful, and he knows like when and how to push, and not just like say whatever he thinks all the time, like me, for example.
Like next to no benefits.
I know. God, what is that?
Exactly.
It blows, man.
You know, this would not happen if we had a union.
That's what I'm talking about.
Whoa. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what we
you're
need
right.
to
Daryl's
man,
right.
see,
He's extremely right. I love him so much.
that's what I've been saying, man.
Yeah.
We need to do this finally.
You know what? It's not necessary because you already sort of have a union of guys.
It's more than necessary, Mike.
Okay, no, this episode is particular because of the like guy-gal talk stuff, but that's such a boss thing to say. Like, is it really necessary? You already have X, Y, or Z thing. Often it's like, we're already a family here. That's basically the same as saying like, you already have a union of guys. Like, you already have this family. Why mess it up? You can always come talk to me. Very classic boss behavior.
We need this. Roy,
Yeah,
you still have that card from the Dock Workers Union?
Dock workers?
Man, hook him up. Come on, man.
Yeah. You know what? I think the problem is the checks.
Union.
The chicks. And you gotta blame them.
Classic boss move again. Number one, blaming someone else, trying to deflect blame from himself, even though he's the boss. He has some power. I mean, I know Jan is his boss, but still, he has a lot more power than these guys. And then, of course, blaming women. We're always to blame, in society, in the workplace, whatever. So I feel like this is kind of happening a lot faster than a normal union campaign would happen. But sometimes, and it seems like the warehouse doesn't have that many employees, maybe 10. Seems like people are fired up. They've already been talking about this clearly because Roy had a card from the dock workers union, and they're finally ready to take action. Sometimes it just takes someone pushing you over the edge a little bit, and Michael messing everything up, trying to act like he's one of them when he's clearly not, trying to complain about money when they obviously make far, far different salaries. All of those things, it's like a perfect storm. It's like, now's the time.
Are you with us, Mike?
Yeah.
Welcome to the warehouse. Michael!
Another
Obviously,
issue
Michael
is
will not be able to join the union because he is their boss, which I think he is going to realize very soon.
is inequality of pay between men and women. I'm sure that all of you have.
These are parallel storylines happening right now. If you're talking about pay inequality because of gender, unions, baby, are the thing to fix that. And the warehouse workers, I think, have a little bit more class consciousness than the office workers, which is not to say the office workers are not workers and don't deserve a union. Of course they do. But I guess we're about to find out. But I don't think these workers are yeah, that's why we need a union.
I'm sure that all of you have dealt with that before.
This is important. Ladies, take a breather. Jan? Yeah. Can I help you? I wanted to say that the guys downstairs are thinking about forming a union, and they have some good points.
A union?
Don't be hysterical.
I'm not.
Part of my job is knowing how to talk to women. Let's be rational here. What are the pros? What are the cons?
The cons are that everyone will lose their job, Michael.
Very
Everyone. Office, warehouse.
Illegal, but bosses
What do
say
you
it all the
think?
time.
You take care of the situation?
Yes. I have
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm told that there's been some interest in forming a union and that Michael supported it. Obviously, he's not a friend of yours because he didn't tell you the facts, so let me. If there is even a whiff of unionizing in this branch, I can guarantee you the branch will be shut down like that. They unionized in Pittsfield, and we all know what happened in Pittsfield. It will cost each of you a fortune in legal fees and union dues, and that'll be nothing compared to the cost of losing your job. So I would think long and hard before sacrificing your savings and your futures just to send a message. If you have any further questions, you can direct them to Michael.
So what Jan is doing is very, very, very common. It's so common that unions, even though unions have a 65% approval rating in this country, only 11% of workers are in them. And that's because usually when workers try to form a union, that's what they get, or even worse than that. And what she was saying is a mix of legal and illegal things. You can't say if you unionize, you'll lose your job. You can't say that, but everything else that she said is mostly legal and obviously works to intimidate workers and make unionization seem scary and difficult and not worth it. And it really works because so many workers start out trying to form a union and they never make it to an election. If they make it to an election, they find a way to win, which is very, very hard. They often never make it to a first contract because there's so much stalling from the employer, and lies and confusion, all of that is like very exhausting. And when you think about someone who's working at least 40 hours a week and has kids at home, maybe making the union drive seem like a long, arduous, confusing process where you're getting all these different messages, people are angry at you, people are constantly talking about this thing, you're just like, ugh, it's not worth it, even though it truly is worth it. And if you're watching this, you should form a union. But this is why we need to pass the PRO Act, the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, because it actually has consequences for this kind of behavior, and it forces employers to actually like get to the table and bargain with you once you have a union. So like in this case, if these workers were like, that's illegal, that's messed up, like we're gonna keep moving forward with our union campaign and we want to send a message to the boss that was wrong, we're going to file an unfair labor practice at the National Labor Relations Board, which is the governmental agency that sort of oversees all organizing and union elections. If they found that the employer broke the law, all that would happen is like the employer would have to put a little sign up in the warehouse that was like, don't worry, you can form a union. And it's like, it would be a sign where like the minimum wage law signs are, you know, if you've ever worked in a place with like a break room, you've seen this and like stuff about OSHA or whatever. So like no one would see it, no one would care, it wouldn't mean anything. By that point, people, unless, you know, you're able to like really move forward and move people past their fear, people would be like so afraid and turned off from unionizing because they've already been through it a little bit and they've already seen what happens when they try. They get totally like intimidated by their employer. It should be easy as 50% plus one employees want to form a union. You should be able to have a union very shortly after that. Why not? It's what the employees want. It's their right. It's their right technically to form a union. But in reality, it's so much harder than that and takes so much longer. And the people have to overcome so many obstacles to make it happen. And it's just so messed up, and that's why we need to pass the PRO Act.
Pizza, great equalizer. Rich people love pizza, poor people love pizza, white people love pizza, black people love pizza. Do black people like pizza?
Okay, but this is like that Onion article that's like boss quells workplace uprising with free pizza. It's like, it is so true. It's so true. And it's like every union campaign, there's something comparable. Like maybe it's not pizza, but it's like when you start to organize, you win things from the boss, even things you weren't asking for. Like you'll get a raise, you'll get like free lunch on Wednesdays, you'll get like an extra comp day, you'll get all these things because like the boss wants to like make you happy and quell your anger, so you like choose not to form a union.
Thank you to our hosts.
Hey Michael, this ain't over.
If people understandably are averse to the risk of organizing, you know, the risk that organizing can pose, but we believe that all workers deserve a union, and we know that so much of what the working class needs is dependent on workers being organized, how do we get people to overcome that?
Totally. Well, I mean, every time it happens, I'm like, damn, workers are amazing. Like, our class is so powerful and brave because we really are up against so much. Like, every single deck is stacked against us. Like, these workers in Bessemer, Alabama, going up against the most powerful boss in the world. And, like, they don't make very much money. They make, what, $15 an hour? And they're saying, like, I don't care that you're the richest person in the world. I deserve to have a voice in my workplace. That is so powerful, that like unshakable bravery, and it's contagious. And like whether the Amazon workers win or lose, I mean, they're showing other workers in this country what we deserve and how to fight and what we should be fighting for. And I think that's one piece of it. And the other piece of it is really we have to fight like hell to pass the PRO Act, because we have to make it just so much easier for workers in this country to form a union when they want to. And that's not going to happen without significant changes to our laws, unfortunately, because we can't like hope the boss like wakes up one day and is like, my workers want to form a union? Okay, that sounds nice, because that's never going to happen. And we can't depend on that. And all we can really depend on is each other and trusting each other and fighting with and for each other. And to be able to do that more easily, we really do need to pass the PRO Act. Everyone in my life says I'm a broken record, but it's the PRO Act.
So what is DSA doing to fight to pass the PRO Act?
Oh my God, DSA is doing so much to pass the PRO Act. I am so proud of us and so impressed by us. I think we're punching so far above our weight. We are in a coalition with IUPAT, the Painters Union, and CWA, my union, the Communication Workers of America. And we are working with them to figure out how we're going to do this thing. And we are phone banking voters in states with senators who have not yet pledged their support for the PRO Act. And we've made over 500,000 calls and counting. We're not giving up. And, you know, I hope by the time this video airs, there will be word from a couple senators that they've flipped because of our work, because of our phone calls. And that, to me, if that happens, will be so amazing and just such a testament to the work that DSA can do and is doing. And chapters all across the country are having town halls and webinars with workers and unions in their areas. And they're planning digital and in-person actions for April and May, including on May Day. And we're not going to stop until we pass the PRO Act.
Damn right. If you're organizing in your workplace and you're worried your boss might have the reaction that Jan did, what should you do about that? Like, how should people prepare for that? And if that does happen, like, how should you keep your coworkers from being discouraged?
Totally. That's a really great question. And a huge part of having an organizing conversation is inoculation. You're asking people when you're having an organizing conversation, what do you think our boss is going to think about this? When we're like, hey, we're forming a union because we want to have a say in our workplace and we want to bargain over wages and benefits. And most people know the boss isn't going to like it. Like, we've all seen what happens when people stand up to power. It's scary. It's confrontational. Power doesn't like when regular people say, no, we want things to be different. But it's important to get people to think about it in their head and say it out loud, because it is going to happen. And if you're going into this thinking like, oh yeah, union, that's cool. Like, why wouldn't my boss like that? Don't they want me to be happy? Don't they want me to have a say in the workplace? On one hand, a lot of people are like, yeah, the boss won't like it. And then on the other hand, other people are like, but why wouldn't they like it? Unions are good. Like, what's the problem? And so getting people to actually understand, like, no, we're going to be up against a lot and the boss isn't going to like it and they could do X, Y, or Z. Are you still like with me, and are you still with the rest of your coworkers who are fighting to form this union? And getting people to like face that fear and know what they're up against makes them so much less likely to bail when it gets hard, because they already know what's coming and they know it's going to be hard and they're ready for it. And they've heard stories of other boss fights and they've heard how workers fought back. And so that's one piece of it. And the other piece of it is a slightly less in your control because shit happens, but hopefully by the time the boss hears about your union and starts threatening you and making promises to you and surveilling you and doing all of these things that they're definitely going to do, you already have a super majority of your coworkers on board, have taken some kind of action already, like, you know, internal action, signed some kind of petition, whatever, and are ready to escalate and take a more public action, because you have people ready, fired up, and everyone's in it together. If you have more of a split workplace, a boss fight can kind of make the divide even wider. So you really want to have everyone on board, or as many people on board as possible, to be able to fight back against that.
Like you said, it seems like there's two kind of parallel storylines going on in this episode, right? So, in the warehouse, the response to, like some of the gender talk and the intervention of the boss is you have a leader saying we need to unionize. But we don't see that in the storyline with the women in the office, in the upstairs office. And I'm wondering what you think about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it could be a couple of things. One, obviously unions are more common in warehouses than they are in offices, which is, could be changing because there are fewer warehouses and more offices these days. And office workers and especially nonprofit workers have definitely increased unionization rates over the past decade or half a decade. But those warehouse workers might have friends or family members who have similar job types who are in unions and understand the union difference. And the office workers may not. They may not know other office workers in unions. So they may think, and this is a common, common refrain. You hear people say this all the time. I thought unions are just for warehouse workers or, people who work in factories or whatever. I used to organize faculty and graduate workers, and that was definitely maybe it was phrased differently, but that was a common thought, oh, can I even form a union? That's one end of it. And the other end of it is do I deserve to be in a union? Is my job too cushy to be unionized? Do I do enough work to be a worker? I just sit at a computer all day. What do I even do? And so it could be any of those combinations. And then I think there is also this belief, and I'm not sure if it's really, if we're actually seeing this in the office or I'm just projecting, but there are a lot of office workers who don't really see themselves as workers. Obviously it's their place of employment, but it's a different kind of identity maybe. And I definitely think that's changing, especially with COVID and everyone feeling pushed to their limit. But I think there's just more, it's more likely for there to be more class consciousness and awareness of your status as a worker in a kind of more manual labor job like the warehouse workers have.
So if someone watches this episode of The Office and says, yeah, you know what? I want to be like Daryl. I want to lead my coworkers in a unionization effort. Let's do this. What should they do?
Amazing question. They should contact the Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee, which is a project of DSA and UE helping workers organize their workplace. And it's awesome.
Mindy, thank you so much for being here and giving us your insights on this. If you at home are looking for help organizing in your own workplace and want advice from awesome organizers like Mindy, reach out to the Emergency Workplace Organizing Committee at workerorganizing.org. Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever.